Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared, and we're about to play Codenames. Let's take a look. I'll show you how. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. My goal is this video can not only teach you to play, but can be shown at the game table to help set up and teach the game at your next game session. As part of that goal, I've added chapter timestamps in the description to the different sections of the tutorial to easily recap relevant rules for you. This tutorial is brought to you in cooperation with Luck Factory Games out of Concord, North Carolina. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below the video so you don't miss any of my latest content. Codenames is a popular team party game about giving clues and picking out the right answers among a grid of face-up cards. There have been many variations of Codenames released since this original came out in 2015, including the two-player Codenames Duel, Codenames Pictures, and quite a few themed games from popular franchises. In Codenames, there will be a grid of 25 cards showing different words on them, with each card corresponding to a position that represents different colors. The team leaders will try to get their team to point out the right cards while avoiding the wrong ones. Let's take a look at how the game sets up. To start playing Codenames, you'll first need to split up your group into two teams as evenly as possible. Try to keep the groups balanced out with skill levels or experience in party games. You'll need at least 4 players for a standard game, 2 versus 2. Each team should choose one player to be their spy master, who will be giving clues. Both spy masters should sit on the same side of the table, with the rest of the players from both teams sitting across from them. All other players are known as field operatives. Shuffle the Codenames cards and deal out 25 cards face up into a 5x5 grid. Keep them oriented the same way, with the larger words facing the field operatives. Shuffle the square key cards and randomly choose one to use this game. Don't let the field operatives see it. Place it on the plastic stand so it's standing upright facing the spy masters. Don't worry about which side is up. Every orientation of the card is a valid way to play the game. Place the 8 red agent tiles and 8 blue agent tiles in stacks next to the spy masters. One team will be blue and one red. Keep the color stack in front of the spy masters so everyone remembers which color team they're on. The lights shown around the sides of the key card will correspond to which team should take the first turn. Give that team's spy master the double-sided agent tile. Keep it on their color. It will be one of their agent cards for the game. The innocent bystanders and assassin tiles should sit in a stack between the spy masters. That's all that's needed as far as setup for the game. The codenames on the cards represent secret identities of agents in the field. The spy masters know the secret identities of all 25 agents via the key card. The field operative teammates only know them by their codenames. The spy masters will take turns giving one-word clues with a number. The clue given may relate to multiple words on the table. The field operative's job is to guess which words the spy master meant. Once an operative player touches a code word card, the spy master reveals its secret identity. If it was one of their team's agents, the operatives may keep guessing. Otherwise, the turn passes to the next team, with the spy master giving a clue to their teammates. The first team to successfully contact and reveal all their agents wins the game. But be careful, if any team touches the codename of the assassin, the team instantly loses. When looking at the key card, the spy masters can see the color-coded identities of each position in the codenames grid. As players guess codename cards, the spy master will place one of the tiles on it to indicate what it was. Since they want their teammates to guess only the right cards, they'll need to study all of the available codenames on the table to make sure they come up with a clue that will not cause confusion with wrong answers. And be sure to avoid accidentally giving a clue that would make someone think the assassin codename is correct, since that causes an instant loss. Whatever card is in the position where the black square is, that's the assassin. If chosen, the assassin tile must be placed on it, and the game ends with the other team winning. When your teammates guess a correct codename card, place one of your team's color agent tile on it. Since it was a correct guess, they may guess another word if they choose. If they guess a codename that doesn't belong to either team, it's an innocent bystander. The spy master should cover it with an innocent bystander tile, and their turn ends. Should your team guess a card that belongs to the other team, cover it with the opposing team's agent tile and end the turn. They've accidentally helped the other team, since it's one more down that they have to find. As the spy master, you must think of a one-word clue that relates to some of the words your team must guess, without causing them to guess the wrong words. Always be especially careful to not give a clue that would cause someone to guess the code name for the assassin. Once you've thought of a good clue, say the word followed by a number. The number is how many code names are related to your clue that you want them to find. You may always give a clue for a single code name, but it's better to try for 2 or more. The spy master cannot give any other hints or say any other phrase or try to qualify it in some way. So they can't start with, "This may be a bit of a stretch, but..." The clue word given cannot be any of the code names visible on the table. Once a code name is covered up with an agent or bystander tile, you could then be allowed to use it as a clue word. The spy master can't make any gesture or facial expression while the team is guessing. They can talk amongst themselves, but the guess isn't official until one of them touches the codename card on the table. The operatives should focus on the table when making guesses. Avoiding eye contact with the spy master will help you avoid nonverbal cues. The field operatives must make at least one guess. Any wrong guess ends the turn immediately, but a correct answer matching their color lets them keep guessing if they want. The field operatives can stop guessing at any time, but if you can, you usually want to guess as many words as the spy master said. You are allowed to make one extra guess than the number the spy master called out. So if the spy master said red 3 as the clue, and the team made 3 correct guesses in a row, they are allowed one more guess. Also, when the team makes a correct guess, the spy master should act as though it was exactly the word you meant, even if it wasn't. The game includes a sand timer if you want to use it. If a player is thinking too long, any player may flip the timer and ask them to make a decision before the time runs out. If you're having trouble yourself, you can flip it for yourself too. If the spy master can't find a good clue before the time runs out, just give a clue for your hardest word and keep thinking while the other team plays. The timer doesn't have to be used in the game at all if the group doesn't want to. You should discuss this together and decide. Once one team has all their words covered by agents, that team wins the game. Or if a team guesses the assassin codename, that team loses. These are the 2 ways the game can end. Also, it's possible to win on the other team's turn if they happen to guess your last word by mistake. When playing again with the same group, try mixing up who the spy masters are to give others a chance to come up with the clues. Remove the agent tiles on the cards and simply flip over the codenames cards, and you're ready to go. They all have different words on the backs. There's a lot of clarifications and recommendations about what clues are valid and which ones aren't. Some clues are invalid because they violate the spirit of the game. The clue must be about the meaning of the words. You can't choose a clue word that is meant to indicate letters or the position of a code name on the table. So gland isn't a valid clue for England. And you can't say something like B3 to mean 3 code names that start with a B and have 3 letters. However, using letters and numbers are valid clues as long as they refer to the meanings. For example, you can use X1 as a clue for ray, and you can give the clue 8-3 as a clue for ball, figure, and octopus. The number you say after your clue can't also be used as a clue, so giving the clue citrus 8 cannot be a valid clue for both lemon and octopus. The rules say you must play in English, so you can't use a foreign word unless the players in your group would use it in an English sentence. The English language itself borrows a lot of foreign words anyway, so those would be valid, like fiancé, strudel, or piñata. The spy master cannot say any form of a visible word on the table, nor say part of a compound word on the table. So until the codename horseshoe is covered up, you can't say horse, shoe, unhorsed, or snowshoe. This is a good time to say that if an invalid clue is given, the team's turn ends immediately. As an additional penalty, the other team's spy master may cover one of their own words with an agent card before giving their next clue. However, if no one notices that the clue is invalid, it does count as valid. Since there can be homonyms with words having different meanings in English, the words are considered different and must be used appropriately for their meanings. So night with an N and night with a K are different clues and can't be used interchangeably. The spy master is allowed to spell out the clue word, and the teammates are allowed to ask. When asked, the spy master must spell it out for them. If the spy master isn't particularly strong in spelling, they can ask for assistance from the opposing spy master for help. Spelling out the clue word is also recommended if playing in a noisy room or when players have difficult accents to understand. While giving a clue, the spy master may choose to use 0 or unlimited as the number after the word. If using 0, what you're saying is none of the code words relate to my clue I gave you. In this case, the field operatives can guess as much as they want and aren't limited to a specific number +1 like normal. Of course, guessing wrong still ends the turn. When the spy master uses unlimited as the number after the clue word, you're letting your team try to make any number of guesses they can from previous rounds and the current round's clue. The only problem with that is the field operatives won't know how many code names are related to the new clue. The advantage, of course, is they can guess as many as they want until they guess wrong or decide to stop. Since this is a party game and not intended to cause ongoing debates about what is valid, the general idea is to not be too strict. So if the opposing spy master allows the clue, then let it go. If the spy master isn't sure if a possible clue would be valid, whisper to your opponent to ask. The group can decide whether all compound words are allowed or not. English has 3 different ways compound words can be made. Greenhouse is 1 word. Pack rat is 2 words. Mother-in-law is 3 words hyphenated. Technically speaking, greenhouse is the only compound word in these 3 that is a 1-word clue. You are welcome in your group to allow all kinds of compounded English words or not. Just know you can't ever make up and invent compounded words. Proper names are allowed as clues as long as they follow the other clue rules. The group can decide to allow proper names as 1 word, such as a full person's name, George Washington, or titles like the Three Musketeers. It is recommended to allow exceptions for place names like New York or Rio de Janeiro. If your group allows proper names, the spy masters should not be allowed to make up names. Along with that, abbreviations like CIA, UK, PhD are not 1 word, but your group can decide to allow these kinds of clues. Choosing clue words that rhyme is valid as long as the meaning is also accurate. You can't give a clue that rhymes if its only association with the codename is the fact that it rhymes. If your group wants to allow any kind of rhyming, just remember you aren't allowed to indicate that you're intentionally giving a rhyming clue. The field operatives must figure that out for themselves. Believe it or not, you can play Codenames 2-player in a special variant included in the rulebook. To do it, both of you are on the same team, and you'll try to get a high score against a simulated opponent. One player is the spy master, and the other the field operative. The second team has no players, but still get their agent tiles out nearby. Your team goes first and plays like normal. Then on the simulated opponent's turn, the spy master chooses one of the other team's code names to cover up with one of their agent tiles. There is a bit of strategy since the spy master will get to choose which one is covered. If the opponent team's agent tiles are all placed before yours, you lose. If you win, check to see how you did by how many agent cards are still left in the enemy's stack. So the score is determined by how many turns you needed and by how many enemy agents you contacted accidentally. 3 people can play Codenames by playing on the same team, just like the 2-player variant, or if 2 players want to compete against each other, they can be spy masters and the 3rd player can be their operative. In that case, the single field operative is working for both sides. The winning spy master is determined the usual way. The player acting as the field operator for both sides should do so fairly and equally, trying to do a good job for both sides. Keep the rulebook handy and check BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. The Meeple Mentor channel is now part of the board game community, the Gateway Network, made up of great upcoming board game content creators. The network includes Instagrammers, podcasters, YouTubers, artists, and more. Head to thegatewaynetwork.com to support new and independent board gamers. Also, I want to quickly shout out the excellent board game cafe in Concord, North Carolina, Luck Factory Games. Whether you're an avid player developing your hobby or looking to recapture the nostalgia of a game you played long ago, there is something for you in their expansive library of more than 1,000 games. Through hosting events and having game teacher volunteers, they're all about promoting diversity and inclusivity to grow the hobby. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.